When my wife and I purchased our new home back in 2002, the home was only 2 years old at that time. It was built by a custom home builder. And we felt very confident that in buying this home that we would be stemming the tide of any kind of home improvement project for years to come. Well, unbeknownst to us, the year 2000 was the year of the recall on CertainTeed shingles, and our roof was beginning to curl up. The shingles were curly at the end, and we were told by some friends that are contractor experts that we were going to need a roof replacement. So lucky for us, the Home and Garden Show was coming up in that month, and we went to meet Rock and Tait in person in their booth at the Home and Garden Show, along with several other roofers. And while we did get 3 estimates right away, we were very much impressed with Rock and Tait right away from the presentation. Not only their booth, but in meeting the members of the company and the principals involved, both Kane and George. Prior to meeting Kane at our home before our appointment was scheduled, he also suggested that we schedule an appointment in advance with the Focus on Energy people from Xcel Energy. And they sent out an investigator to do an audit on our house as far as energy. They installed a blower door in the front of the home. They depressurized the house and were able to determine air leaks, evaluate our insulation, both up in the attic as well as down below on our lower level. And we did have some deficiencies there. And it was good to have this information in advance because Kane and George and their company, they take a whole house approach to not only the re-roofing of the house, but also the energy efficiency of the house. I think that's the Rock and Tait Exteriors portion of their business. Meeting Kane on the day of his estimating was a pleasure. You could tell that he was very experienced. He'd done this before a number of times. The appointment was as scheduled. It was prompt, and we got our estimate right away, together with a sit-down session and a complete line-by-line detail report that was absolutely perfect for our needs. Yeah, as Kane began to explain what we would need for re-roofing, we had many options available to us, and that was helpful so that we could make a good decision. And we also looked at the insulation factor. That was something that our home needed, as the energy auditor determined that our attic insulation, even though this was a new home, was not done entirely completely. I don't want to say incorrectly, but it just wasn't done completely. We had some air infiltration issues and some under insulation up on the attic level. So these are things that Kane took the time to explain to us, and that now doing it with the roofing was ideal because we would gain a benefit of labor, because while the crew was here, had they need to get into some tight spots, they could do that without having to crawl into tight spots in the attic. They'd be able to lift roofing panels, and it was just a very efficient estimate, and I think a very efficient plan. Kane's approach in explaining what we needed both for roofing materials and what we needed for insulating materials, and the time that it would take to perform all this work was very clear to us. We understood everything that was on the estimate report. Any questions that we had, he answered right away, and we were very pleased with what he had to say. The trucks rolled in maybe 5 minutes ahead of schedule early in the morning, and the one thing that I was really impressed by was the size of the crew. Many crew members, each one having a designated job. There's a job foreman that oversees everything. And right away after they jumped off the trucks, there was no wasted time. They got to work immediately. One prep crew came out, and the first thing they did was protect our home. Tarps went out all the way around the perimeter of the house. Plywood panels were put in place to protect lower windows. Their goal was to make sure that by the time the job was done, you wouldn't be able to tell that anybody was in and around the yard. The roofing itself was a sight to see. The neighbors could not believe that a multi-peak roof line on a 3,300 square foot house, 42 squares of shingles, could be stripped down to the decking all in one morning, and it was. And by late afternoon, early that evening, our new roof was on, the insulation was done, and with our particular home, even as large as it was, and a crew of that size, 2 crews, one was the roofing and the other one was for insulating, everything was done in one day. Working with the installation crew from Rock and Tait, is something that's best enjoyed from afar. I think you just sit back and you watch them work. It's a sight to see. These guys are very good, very fast, very accurate. They came out on a relatively warm spring day, so we made sure that we had a cooler with plenty of lemonade and tea and iced water and sodas and things in it. And even that, they would take just a second to refresh themselves and keep going back to work. The work ethic was absolutely impressive. After the Rock and Tait crew left, there was still some daylight left, and my wife and I just walked around our house. We were taking pictures, and we were just marveling at how wonderful our new roof was. It looked even better than the original one when we bought the home, because we got a chance now to select the shingle type and the style and the color. We were just given every option available, and we were very, very happy when the work was done. You know, this is not an expense that any homeowner looks forward to, especially us, when we thought we had a new home with new materials. So this was kind of an emergency repair. But, you know, now to have this wonderful warranty to go with it and peace of mind, knowing that our roof is and our insulation is solid and will save us money for years to come, we couldn't be happier. From the very first meeting with Rock and Tait at the Home and Garden Show, through the advice and the guidance we were given right then and there on the expo floor, through our phone call to set up the appointment, the estimating, the crew's workday was fabulous. It was such a sight to see that even our neighbors stopped in the street to watch the work being done. And consequently of that, they ended up doing more homes down the street after that based on what they saw here. And I think that's a great testament to the kind of workmanship that this local owned company can do. It's been about a year, about a calendar year since our roof has been installed and our insulation. And the roof still looks like the day it was installed. And I must say that my heating and air conditioning bills have been lowered, just like Focus on Energy and Kane told me. So this is kind of nice that this surprise investment of ours is now paying us back little bit by little bit, and we're very happy about that. Rock and Tait is a quality company. They're locally owned. They do what they say they're going to do. They stick to their promises. The deadlines are met on time. And I think of the 3 estimates that we got, we made our decision not based on price, but based on value. And what we got for the money, it was just the value and the kind of quality we were looking for.